Welcome to Shooby Dooby Doo Wop, a podcast where we talk about pop music, specifically by deep diving a randomly selected UK top 10 singles chart from the past. Will this be around forever, or simply be a little souvenir of a terrible year? You can see a lot in this lifespan, all written down on the same list. Your ups, your downs, your highs and your lows, but there's nothing left for you to fear. I'm James Cook.
I'm Andy Robinson.
And this week we are going back to the 2nd of April 1998.
The heady days of spring 1998. In the top 40, just knocking around. Not in the top 10, but there's Never Ever by All Saints Angels, Robbie Williams. Getting jiggy with it by the comedian bashing Will Smith. You're Still the One, Shania Twain. Brimful of Asher, these kind of songs. That's going on. Not in this top 10 though.
Where were you, April 1998?
Do you know, James, I having a little consider. I knew a lot of these songs, and I was having a little time auditioning, I suppose, for a local radio station, BRMB. They were putting me on late nights to see how I went on as a comedian. That lasted 6 weeks before I was brutally kicked out for stupid things I said. You know, you can imagine.
What did you say?
On my marching orders, let's say, they gave me a list of things I'd said in the last one. The biggest one was me suggesting that fans of Westlife, I think it was, have had a lobotomy. Now, I was only joking, and yet that is not the sort of thing on commercial radio when you're playing Westlife, and Westlife are doing a big promotional week with the same radio station that they enjoyed. It doesn't matter anyway, so... Yeah, these songs, I was playing them quite a lot, a few of them, so it reminded me of that time I was 29, going on to 30. Now, any birthday coming up with a zero at the end of it, James, always troublesome for me, so I wasn't in the best place emotionally at the time.
I'm sorry to hear that.
What were you doing?
I was 2020.
2020?
I was 20, and I'm pretty sure on this exact date I was in Glasgow.
Okay, how do you remember that? Not in a Prince Andrew, you're in Pizza Express kind of way, I hope.
I was a student, I was still at university, but I was working on Saturday nights at a comedy club, and the woman I worked with was putting together a show to go to the Edinburgh Festival, and I somehow wangled my way onto that lineup, and then that weekend, the first weekend of April, we all went to Scotland to do some previews and spent some time with Janie Godley.
Oh, R.I.P. Janie Godley,
Yeah.
fantastic comedian. We should point out we're both comedians, really, because I don't think it's always obvious from the rest of the product we're about to supply.
But Janie Godley, who we sadly lost not long before we were recording this, this makes me think of being up there in Scotland and also not knowing what I was doing, sleeping in some stranger's spare room.
That's showbiz.
Yeah.
I had another way to drag it into pop music a little bit. I was also working as a television warm-up around this time. I was working on a television show called Nevermind the Buzzcocks, the pop music quiz. So I had a little look at who was on that show around this time. I mean, I was meeting people like Keris Matthews and Billy Bragg, Shovel, the drummer out of Dodgy, all of that kind of stuff, if you remember that show around that time. So I suppose that was going on.
Do you want there to be loads of emails? Is that what that was? ShoobyPodcast@gmail.com, by the way.
Yes.
Shovel was the drummer in M People.
My apologies. I think I ran a one-sentence Shovel and the drummer out of Dodgy, which was Matthew Priest, so don't question me on my pop knowledge.
All right, I just wanted to check.
No, we're good on this. I do want us to email us in to shoobypodcast@gmail.com, just with any comments you've got, really. I mean, always looking for content. You can be as aggressive as you like, I suppose, or, as complimentary if you want.
Yeah, or aggressive compliments.
You can listen to this playlist on Spotify, and there's also a YouTube playlist in the description. Refamiliarise yourself, or maybe acquaint yourself with this top 10 from the 2nd of April 1998.
Do you know who'd been arrested a week before?
Was it Hugh Grant?
No, Mark Morrison.
Ah, okay.
He'd been arrested. Do you know what for?
Nope.
He sent a lookalike to do his community service.
Nice.
What an audacious scam to try and get away with. And then who was arrested a week after? Probably much more famously.
Was it Hugh Grant?
No, it was George Michael.
Ah.
He was arrested in a Beverly Hills men's room for committing a lewd act.
Do you know, James, years ago when I was living in America, I went on a haunted tour of Los Angeles where a lot of murders had happened, and when we were driving around, we stopped at that very same bathroom. Now, I was on that little bus with a load of old men. We'd been on it for quite a while. Of course, when they said there's a bathroom break, this is the bathroom George Michael got arrested in, I was running in all excited to see what happened. But none of the old men on the bus wanted to go in. There's a real... I thought, you're old, you must be dying for one right now.
In case the ghost of George Michael was there.
In case maybe they saw me running in so excited and thought, well, I don't know what his motives are.
I've got some stats about the chart.
I love your stats. Tell me some.
There's 1 song going up, 4 songs going down, 3 new entries and 2 non-movers for a total net movement of -12. There are 4 UK artists, 3 American, 1 German, 1 Australian and a Canadian. There are 5 groups, 3 solo artists and 2 collabs. And 1 of the song is a cover version and 2 are remixes.
My stats are there are 7 songs regarding the complexities of love, 2 statements of intent, and 1 real come on, but crucially in the Italian tongue. Also, there is only 1 bit of self-reference and there is only 1 key change, but, it's a good one this week, the key change. Me personally, James, I bought none of these top 10 singles, maybe because I was working on the radio and I heard them all the bleeding time. But subsequently, I have seen 2 of the acts live, 4/5 of another act, and 1/4 of another one of them. So, that's some sort of contribution to, let's call it, the capitalism of pop music, isn't it?
I also bought none of these at the time,
Right.
which was unusual because I was buying quite a lot of CD singles around this time as a student. In fact, in the bonus tracks, all 3 of the songs that I picked for our bonus tracks this week are songs that I bought at the time.
You are not part of the problem, you are part of the solution. Well done for contributing to all these people's careers and let's call it their coffers.
There are another half a dozen songs on the playlist that are in the top 100 on the 2nd of April 1998, and we get into them in our special bonus tracks podcast, featuring Pulp, David Holmes, Eric Clapton, the most fiendishly clever Blur parody ever, and one of Britney Spears' favourite records.
You can join our Patreon community for free. The bonus tracks podcast costs less than a Sega Dreamcast a month, which are pretty expensive in this era, James.
Anyway, let us entertain you.
Number 10.
Down 3 places to number 10. Here's Where the Story Ends by Tintin Out featuring Shelley Nelson, a cover version of a song by The Sundays.
Yes.
What know you of The Sundays?
I know very little about the Sundays, except they wrote Here's Where the Story Ends by Tintin Out featuring Shelley Nelson.
Well, I asked because they were kind of very critically acclaimed when their album came out.
Yes.
And then sort of disappeared for ages. And they came back with another album and then they disappeared again and sort of shunned the limelight. So I'm not surprised that you don't know that much about them because I don't think anyone does really, other than their diehard fans and possibly family members.
This has been one of the things I love about doing this podcast, James, is at the time I heard this song a lot. As I say, I was struggling along playing it late night and I sort of dismissed this song. Now I popped it on this week on the playlist, which is in descriptions, just to remind you. And it immediately made me think, what a beautiful song this is. Why did I ignore this at the time? It's absolutely worked its magic on me this week, whether it's a Sundays version or this one, since this is one I've been listening to.
There's a lot of good stuff in this.
Ah, it's
a
beautiful.
lot of good stuff. So should we talk about the Sundays element of it first?
If you like.
Because that's the lyrics and the tune and
they
the
wrote
general
it.
vibe.
Yeah.
Written by real-life couple Dave Gavurin and Harriet Wheeler, who are sort of the main 2 people in the Sundays. Apparently, how they used to write songs is they would write a line each sort of alternately.
Oh, really?
I don't know whether that's true or whether they did that with this song. That's kind of an interesting way to write a pop song, particularly if one person wants to take the song in one direction and one wants to take it in completely another. But it works really well here, whatever they did.
The words are so beautiful. The song itself, essentially the verses are 2-chorded, so it's like something like a G major 7th and a C 11, I think. It's all places I know, dip it a do, make me feel inside. Just to remind you of it if you need it. Essentially does that all the way through, except that bit you mentioned in your intro, James, of alluding. I mean, what a great line that is. It's a little souvenir of a terrible year. Beautiful.
Great lyric.
Yeah, man. As loads of the rest of them are. I never should have said that the books that you read were all I loved you for. It's a great line.
Can you imagine that? God, if my wife said to me, the only reason I love you is the books you read, I would go, well, I don't believe you, because every time I've recommended you a book, she listens to audiobooks. A couple of times I've recommended books. She has hated all of them.
And
so
yet,
it's definitely not the case with me.
Okay. I mean, it's such a, I couldn't work out whether it was a breakup song or maybe, I mean, I'd like to.
I think it's a post-breakup song.
Or it doesn't even have to be a let's call it romantic relationship, could it? As you know, on YouTube comments I like to go to for a little bit of content, really. Again, a lot of people are going on about this, about death, I suppose. It's reminding them of people who have died. So that's a good element to it as well, isn't it? If you want to call people dying, very close to a good element.
Well, I suppose so. You know, the song is called Here's Where the Story Ends.
Yes.
There's all kinds of different stories that have endings, not just relationships. It's got that sort of melancholic, looking back at a relationship with sort of bittersweet memories vibe, and also mentions a shed.
Yep.
It's the memories of your shed that make me turn red. I mean, we record this in your shed, don't we?
Yes.
So one day I'm going to be listening to this thinking about, do you remember that podcast?
Turning red with embarrassment.
Yeah.
It might actually be this, what is happening now?
It might well be. To say it's mature makes it sound sort of boring and
I thought it was boring at the time because I was, that age, and I was, hey man, it's being played on commercial radio. It must be, but it's a belter.
But a post-breakup song that is also kind of, I was also to blame for the breakup, and not in an angry way, not in a bitter way, just in a kind of matter of fact. We had this relationship. It was nice when it lasted. We both did things wrong, and now it's done. Are there any other pop songs that have that?
Hey, email us in to shoebitpodcast@gmail.com if you can think any off the top of your head. I mean, Shelley Nelson, the vocalist, she sings this great, doesn't she?
She does. Here's the thing. If you listen to the Sundays version and then listen to Tintin Out's version, Shelley Nelson's vocal sounds almost too good. Do you know what I mean? It's like the Sundays are, because they've originated the song, so...
Yeah.
It kind of has that sense of authenticity to it.
Only if you know that, though.
And then you listen to this one, and it's, this is like, a proper singer has shown up.
Amazing.
Not that the Sundays version isn't sung beautifully as well.
I don't know anything about Shelley Nelson. I haven't looked into her later on, so I'm hoping you have.
What I know is that post this hit, she'd go on to do a duet with Krista Berg, and now you can see her performing at garage brunches.
Oh, really?
Yes, these are brunches you can go to where stars of UK garage play their hits.
Nice.
She does them.
Well,
Good for her.
I'm glad she's got a job. I mean, I know nothing about Tintin Out. They just sound to me, this is a convoluted joke alert. If a Belgian detective had a disappointing season managing a football club, it would be written on the signs and the placards of the football fans.
Yep, that's exactly what they are. Yeah, they're a campaign to replace the manager of, I don't know, Anderlecht. Tintin Out, Darren Stokes and Dr. Lindsay Edwards.
Who's a doctor?
Yep.
Of what?
I don't know. By the way, one of them's going to show up a little bit later.
Oh, really? Spoiler alert. Nice
exciting.
research.
Musically, what they've done to this song from the Sundays version is they've added the drum beat, which is that it's a very 90s drum
of
loop.
its time, for sure.
And so that's a bit kind of expected, but it's the strings. Yeah. The strings make it sound so sweeping and epic, and it adds that sort of extra emotional heft to it.
Yes.
I've really enjoyed listening to this
And
week.
that's the root of it, as I maintain, just a beautiful song. There's a YouTube comment I related to quite a lot from a fella called RG Bargy 7955. He said about this song, after club chill out time, 10 out of 10 would mong out to this again.
Well, he's not the only one, because in 1999, this won the Ivor Novello Award for Best Contemporary Song.
Oh, did it?
Yes.
I mean, it's got that, I hate to say it if you want to be all kind of purist about it, it has got that classic songwriting quality. Yeah, as I maintain, over such a simple backing, really, yet the combination of melody, repetition, the lamentable qualities of the lyrics, it's a winner.
Number 9.
Down 4 to 9, it's Destiny's Child with No, No, No.
No, no, no. Would this have been about the same time as the Churchill adverts were on TV?
Maybe.
Mate, were they inspired by the Churchill dog? Maybe.
I mean, No, 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 it's got a little pedigree, hasn't it? You've got that old Dawn Penn song, No, 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 You Don't Love Me Anymore. You got the Girls Aloud song, No, No, whatever that was called. Sexy, but No, 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 something like that. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Too Unlimited.
No, there's no, no, no.
They're a bit more.
Do you know, sometimes with 2 Unlimited, if I haven't got any chocolate digestives in my house, I find myself walking away from the aforementioned biscuit barrel singing, no, 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 there's no biscuits.
Dear, oh dear. Whatever gets you through the day, Andy.
That's right.
So there are 2 versions of this song.
Oh, yes.
There's part 1, which is like a slower version of it, which is the original version of it. And then part 2, which is kind of the hit version.
Right.
Which is the version that was remixed by Wycliffe Jean.
Oh, really?
Off of the Fugees.
Off of the Fugees.
Hence, at the beginning, Wycliffe Jean coming on going, this is the remix. Which is a thing that happens on some remixes.
Yeah, why not?
Guys, this is the remix, yeah? Just so you know. Carry on.
Wyclef Jean didn't mention his name, though, like some people. That's for later.
He does mention the refugees camp,
Huh?
which is, of course, the Fugees. The refugees camp have the remix.
There are 2 evidences of self-reference in this week's top 10. I didn't know that. Did you watch the video?
No, I didn't.
Okay. Did you like the
Oh,
song?
I should say, no.
Did you like the song?
Did I like it? I thought it was all right. I much prefer the hit version than the slow version.
Okay.
I thought it was fine. It's not classic Destiny's Child.
Well, quite. I mean, I watched the video. I'd sort of forgotten all about the fact that Destiny's Child were once upon a time a 4-piece.
Indeed. LaToya Luckett and Latavia Robertson, along with Beyonce Knowles and Kelly Rowland.
Yeah.
And then they leave not long after this, and they're replaced by Michelle Williams and Farrah Franklin, and then Farrah Franklin leaves, and it's just the 3 of them.
I'd forgotten all about that iteration of Destiny's Child, and I was enjoying watching the video. It's very good. They have the pair of them. They are playing 2 characters, if you like, each, and there's a sort of a battle in a back alley somewhere where one Destiny's Child is singing it to the other one. The others are singing it back. I mean, Beyonce, I believe, is doing most of the vocals on this song.
Did you recognise the sample?
No, tell me about it.
It is from the song Strange Games and Things by Barry White's Love Unlimited Orchestra.
The sample would be the rhythm, do you know? I mean, it's got a tremendous, as the old folks say, it's got a good beat to this song, hasn't it? You know, it gets you going, it keeps you moving, it's on your feet.
It's the hook, and Barry White's got a songwriting credit
Cool.
as a result. Now, when they re-recorded it for the remix, the story is that Beyonce...
Here's where the story ends.
Here's where the story begins. Beyonce sang it much, much faster as a kind of a joke. Oh, you want it fast, do you? Fine, I'll do it like that. And then everyone went, oh, that's really good. And then that sort of becomes a signature style of Destiny's Child, and I suppose later Beyonce records as well.
Okay, well, this is interesting. You could relate it to, let's call it, tradition of Elvis Presley inventing rockabilly. When he did That's All Right Mama, they were just messing around in the studio. He started goofing about, singing it fast. So, you know, it happens, doesn't it?
It's a real penicillin moment.
Gurping4649 on YouTube says, it's not many songs that leave a melody residue after you listen to it. This is one of them. So for him, at least, a beautiful tune he is digging.
The lyrics are really lyrics that only female artists can sing. I think.
Go on.
I know you want me just as much as I want you, so come and get my love. It's all here for you. You'll be saying no, 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 when it's really yeah, 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 yeah. It's got a different meaning, hasn't it?
Well, James, I think it was only last week we had a little hissy fit, didn't we? Or rather, I did, about over-analysing the lyrics of Baby It's Cold Outside last week, I think. Then somehow, whatever these lyrics are meant to represent, let's call it a sexual politic, which is absolutely wokey-dokey and okey-cokey these days. I mean, come on. It's part of the human sexuality drive, I'm going to say. That's slightly seductive. I'm going to change your mind, baby.
Is that slightly seductive, is it?
I think we're about to go red in a shed.
This was their first hit in the UK. It's number 5 here, number 3 in America. What is their next UK top 10 song called?
I do not know.
Well, this is No, No, No.
Is it called? Go on.
Bills, Bills, Bills. And you think, oh, are all their songs going to be 3 words repeated? And then it's like, no, it's a shame. It's, Survivor, Survivor, Survivor.
Yeah.
Bootylicious, Bootylicious, Bootylicious. Keep it going.
I get ya.
They could have really done something in the pop world had they kept up with that.
I like to call that the Travis mentality, where Travis had all them songs, don't they? If you sing, 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 and then they had if you turn, turn, turn. I mean, why not just keep repeating a word if it's a good one for a chorus? Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Number 8.
Up one to number 8. Truly Madly Deeply by Savage Garden. Nothing to do with the film of the same name.
I didn't know there was a
Starring
film.
Alan Rickman and Juliet Stevenson, where he's a ghost. You not seen that?
Oh, Truly Madly Deeply. I
Yeah.
thought you were referencing Savage Garden,
Oh, no.
which, by the way, is a stupid name for a band. Why not call yourselves Brutal Deck Chair or Angry Patio or Vicious Vestibule?
I know where the name Savage Garden comes from.
Oh, go on.
Of course I do. Of course I do. It is from a line in the book Memnoch the Devil, Vampire Chronicles number 5 by Anne Rice, of Interview with the Vampire fame.
I know of it.
There's a line, "In the savage garden, you shine beautifully, my friend."
I mean, James, we have done. This is the 15th one we've done, isn't it?
This is our 15th recording.
So we've done 150 songs in the top 10. Let's add the 6 we add on for our Patreon subscribers, where we talk about songs that never made the top 10. James, we've covered over 240 songs, haven't we, on this podcast from episode 15? I am going to say this has been the worst song I've ever heard out of all of them.
Really?
Yeah, man.
Okay, this is the worst. Worse than the Out Here Brothers.
Yep.
All
At
right.
least it had a bit of fun and spontaneity and joy to it. It was a bit silly.
Let's talk about why you hate this song so much.
All right, then.
Is it because it's about love and you're a mean, heartless
Nope,
man?
because as you know, I am nothing but a romantic deep at heart. It's not about that. It is about the dreary words, the terrible, terrible melody, the production. Not that I'm that bothered about the production usually, the sound of it. It is essentially a 3-chord song. Nothing wrong with that. We have covered loads of 3-chord songs. But the melody, James... Come on, I mean... So all that
If you sing
going on.
anything like that, it's going to sound bad.
But this song sounds like that implicitly. I'm not trying to make it sound like that. This is what it bleeding sounds like to my ears.
You're
And
not
the
a
words
fan.
are terrible. I'll be your dream. I'll be your wish. I'll be your fantasy. I'll be your hope. I'll be your love. Be everything that you need. I love you more with every breath. Come on. I mean, fucking rubbish. Go on. Add some ballast to this sinking ship. Why? Did you like it?
Well, no, but
Not as strongly as me.
I just felt a bit meh. I felt a bit meh about it. At the time, I just thought, this is a bit insipid for my tastes.
It's nothing but a big meh. I mean, possibly the worst crime of all in pop music.
You say that. Do you know this was a US number 1?
God.
Yeah,
I mean, people are talking about like the American public at the moment voting Trump back in, aren't they? They're saying, oh, what a disappointment. I mean, that's nothing compared to this being number 1.
not only that, it would spend 6 months in the American top 10 and be the first song ever to spend a year in the American top 30. The album it's from sells 7 million copies in America alone, mainly off the back of this song. They are the first Australian act to have a US number 1. So bear in mind, this is 1998. Since who? Who were the last Australian act to have a US number 1 before Savage
Men
Garden?
at Work.
It was Men at Work. Well done.
Woo, million pop points to
There
me.
you go.
But my point being,
Absolutely massive in America, this song is.
it is time to bring in the old Nile Rodgers philosophy. Just because I don't like it, it's obviously a great song. It's been in the top 10. Loads of people love it. It's won loads of awards. Blah, 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 blah.
Do you want to stand with me on a mountain? Have you ever stood on a mountain?
I imagine so. I mean,
What do you mean? You'd remember. Surely you'd
Yes.
remember if you stood on a mountain.
I stood on a mountain this week of having to listen to this song and thinking, oh no, this is going to turn up in my Spotify recommended end of next year. That was annoying. I mean, the chorus is dreadful. I don't like the simpering nature of the lyrics. You know, sometimes
Yeah.
I hear this, that people put podcasts on to fall to sleep.
Yeah.
Right? So you're welcome, by the way, if you're drifting off. And yet...
If you are asleep right now, basically stuff we say will show up in their dreams. There's a big monster. Big monster's coming.
Well, we will be their dream, their wish, their fantasy, according to this pair of nanas. I mean, I didn't get them. They did Affirmation. That was a rubbish song as well. Maybe they've got some songs I haven't heard, which I'd love. You know me, James. I like to keep open-minded, but there's something about the way it was presented, both walking around the cityscape, being whatever they are. I mean, I was going to look at YouTube comments for this song, James, and I did have a brief little look. But I was so angry, I thought, oh, you're all a bunch of squares who love this song, you know, so I couldn't just binned it off. Hey, they're duo, Savage Garden.
Yeah, 2 of them.
Tell me about them.
They are Darren Hayes who's the sort of main singer-songwriter, he'd go solo and would have 7 top 20 hits.
Remind me of some of his songs, if I like any of them.
I can't remember.
Yeah, okay.
And Daniel Jones, who would become a real estate agent in Las Vegas.
Great choice, Daniel. Bearing in mind this record, you went the right way. I'm partly giving it a kicking because it's such fun, James.
The song is about being sort of broken, lonely.
Is it?
Yeah.
Why?
It's about being away from home and missing his family.
Well, that didn't come through at all. I want to stand with you on a mountain. I want to bathe with you in the sea. I want to lay like this forever until the sky falls down. I mean, when that's a chorus, what's that saying?
You know, he wants to do things with a person who's not there.
All right.
That's what that is. Have you done any of those things? I don't think I've ever stood on a mountain.
I don't think I have.
I've been up a big hill. Have you ever bathed in the sea?
I wouldn't say I've bathed. I've shivered like let's call it a little girl, thinking this is too cold.
Yeah,
I'm running back in.
I don't like the sea. It's too cold.
We are living in the UK, remember?
Yeah. But I really like how his ambitions during the chorus really become much more manageable. I want to stand with you on a mountain, yeah? I want to bathe with you in the sea. Actually, I just want to lay like this forever. I just want to stay in bed.
Yeah.
I've got these grand plans, but I'm not going to do them. And I relate to that. That's a hard relate from me.
I want to lay like this till until they start piling the dirt on top of me with my general reaction to this song.
So they're only
I'm enjoying this, giving him a kick. I don't do it very often.
They're only like 22, 23 when this song comes out.
Yeah.
They're only young men.
Yeah.
And Darren Hayes said he wrote it because they were broke. They were, trying to get the band going. They were struggling musicians. He said, I remember we used to save money by sleeping in late. He said, I'd only just gotten married and I was away from my wife. I was a 22-year-old baby in a new marriage. I'd never lived outside my own city before, and I was genuinely just lost and sad. I wrote that song for my wife about how much I missed her.
Okay.
I'm just trying to,
It's a nice sentiment.
win them over.
It's a nice sentiment, Darren. Yet I am going to gently say, when you're writing a song for your estranged lover, let's say, there are more ways to put it than I mean, they can work those one-note melodies sometimes, but not in this one. Jesus Christ Almighty, it's fucking rubbish. I mean, it's the one song we've done out of all of them that has, out of the 240 songs, that feels like just an ordeal to listen to.
Number 7.
Down 3 to number 7 this week. It's the Spice Girls with Stop.
Appropriately named.
Huh?
Well, this stopped their run of number ones.
Oh, really?
Yes, this is the first single not to get to number 1 in the UK at the 7th attempt, and the only one of their first 10 singles not to be a number 1.
Wow. That's surprising. You would think this is a Spice Girls classic that everybody loved, wouldn't you? I think. I mean,
yeah, gets to number 2, doesn't get to number 1.
I've considered this, like, let's call it the second, possibly the third phase of Spice Girls. They already came out. They were already established, weren't they? They were already world beating. And the notion of a new Spice Girls single had a little bit of import about it, I think, It's a Motowny stomper, sing-along, classic, get everyone dancing record, isn't it? I mean, I always love one of them.
Stylistically, it's that. To be that, though, I think it sounds too clean.
I get ya.
It needs to be a little bit dirtier.
Yeah.
Not in that way, but you know what I mean?
All righty. Well, I know what you mean. I accept that's what you think.
Thanks.
Did you like the Spice Girls?
Yep.
Yeah, of course.
I had a big poster of Spice Girls in my university room.
Who was your favourite? As someone on YouTube says, NTB1126, picking a favourite Spice Girl is like picking a favourite Beatle, which is Paul McCartney, obviously, so I didn't get NTB's point, really.
So Paul Spice. Who's the Paul McCartney of the Spice Girls, in your opinion?
Well, I always thought at the time, I remember thinking Mel C's the best singer in the Spice Girls, if you want to be competitive amongst women, which I really don't. My apologies, because I was a young man. And I was thinking at the time I didn't particularly like Mel C's voice, despite me thinking she was the best singer. Yet, as time moves on, you just think, she's a great singer, isn't she? She's full of character, full of conviction, and everybody else does their job great on this record if singing is their job. As someone on the YouTube says from watching the video, Victoria is the best at pointing.
she certainly is.
And when I looked at it again, I thought, that's a great shout.
Yeah, she's like, I'm going to marry that footballer.
She's always there. They're all doing the dances, and what she does, Victoria, like just loads of pointing at the camera in a cool manner, it has to be said.
Yeah, she could have been in the Pointer Sisters.
I mean, normally I'd tell you off, but bearing in mind my tinting out joke, much more succinct and to the point, James, well done.
You're welcome. So this is written by the Spice Girls while they were filming the movie Spice World.
Yes, I considered this at the time. It felt in sync, let's say, with that cinematic release.
IMDb rating 3.7, which is incredibly low.
They say IMDb is a province of mainly men, don't they? So I went to see Spice World in Ireland in whatever year it came out, 1999, I think.
97?
Okay.
No, 98? No,
Okay, this year.
It? Oh,
It doesn't matter. Around this time.
Yeah.
Now, as I say, a man approaching 30 and some sort of crisis going on. Anyway, I walked into the film Spice World. I immediately had the cinema staff going, keep an eye on him. Keep an eye on this film. He's on his own amongst loads of children. But I love the Spice World, the film. It's fun. I mean, it's what it is, isn't it?
Do you know what I
Hard
liked?
Day's Night inspired, all that.
Yeah, do you know what I liked most about Spice World?
Yeah, go on.
And this is probably the most me sentence I could say. I got really excited because Mark McKinney was in it from Kids in the Hall,
Right.
the Canadian sketch troupe that obviously in the mid-90s I was a massive fan of.
Cool. As was Elvis Costello turning up. That gave me a thrill.
Who wasn't in it, despite having filmed a 4-minute-long sequence with the Spice Girls?
I don't know.
Gary Glitter. Between them filming it and the film coming out, news stories had broken.
Right.
So they cut out the scene with Gary Glitter. They didn't cut out the Spice Girls singing Do You Want to Be in My Gang? That's still in the film.
Ah, cool.
But he's not in it. They replaced it with a sequence featuring Michael Barrymore. What could go wrong?
Did they?
Yep.
Is that they chose to go? I mean, that gives a sort of different impression to Baby Spice hanging around, I suppose.
So they'd film all day and then they'd go into a Winnebago and then write the album that was going to come out with the movie.
Yeah.
And
Which was called Spice World, if I
Spice
remember.
World, yep. And so Spice Up Your Life, which has got some dodgy lyrics.
Has it?
Yellow Man from Timbuktu. I think so. This song, Stop.
Maybe, you know me, James. Maybe they're playing the part of an ignorant narrator,
Yeah,
and they,
probably.
maybe they thought for Spice Up Your Life, we need to. The persona is a little bit racist.
Well, this song is apparently it started being written by Jerry,
Yes.
and then Mel C comes in and sort of helps. Mel C later said that this song is about their feeling towards fame and their frustration with their management,
Okay.
who they felt was overworking them. And looking back, they kind of were. And in November 97, they would fire Simon Fuller, the manager.
I love Stop. Would it be one of my all-time favourites? Probably not. Every time I hear it, I'm delighted. I looked at the website Song Meanings. Ebony Eyes says, you know you love it. That's their interpretation of the song, and I kind of agree with that for its simplicity. There's a good live version they do from a Victoria's Secret show where they're all dressed like Sexy Andrew sisters. I watched that video as well. Why not?
Yeah, how many times did you watch that?
I just saw once for research and for looking for stupid YouTube comments. I mean, there's also a lot of love for Mel C in, let's call it, Below the Line on YouTube. I mean, a lot of people are absolutely giving her a shout out. So that's good, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it's a great fun song. It's
Yes.
very reminiscent of Picture of You by Boyzone, but that could be because they're produced by the same people.
Oh, okay. Again, another, what I remember, little Motowny,
Yeah.
not pastiche.
Yeah. And also from a British comedy movie.
What the Boyzone one was.
Yeah.
Which one?
Bean. Fact fans. But it ended their streak. This was it. This was the end of the Spice Girls, essentially. Didn't get to number one with this.
Yep.
Jerry leaves like a couple of months after.
It's a
Never
fickle business. We took them for granted. I mean,
Yeah.
not everything's destined to go to number one, is it? But, as we know, James, sometimes songs that don't get to number one, they end up much more, let's call it perennial, than a lot of the ones that do. So I think this song has certainly got that patina about it.
But bearing in mind, Wannabe only became a hit in sort of August 96. So that's
Yes.
in less than 2 years. In like 20 months, they did so much stuff. You could see why they were writing songs to their management about being overworked.
Yeah. I went to see them recently on the last tour they did, luckily, and at the Etihad Stadium. And I mean, for starters, they can fill a stadium still. Loads of them, in fact. That's good, isn't it? But it did make me think, actually, as a, let's not call it uber fan of Spice Girls, but certainly an enthusiast. They haven't got that many songs, actually. They've got about 8 or 9 songs, I think. James, I went to see Paul McCartney last night. He's got more than 9 songs. He didn't even do last night. I mean, just chucking them out. But I'm saying Spice Girls in terms of, let's call it their catalogue, despite the world-beating prowess and obviously huge success, all that, they haven't got as many songs as Sugar Babes, I'm going to say, for
They
some reason.
have released 11 singles,
Yeah.
and one of them came out in 2007.
Yeah. People love them, don't they? The songs like Mama and the other ones, Viva Forever. I like them when they're being a bit more fun. And Stop certainly fits into that category.
Number 6.
Down 3 to number 6. Let Me Entertain You by Robbie Williams. So it's from his album Life Through a Lens.
Yes.
It is the 5th single from that album.
Yep.
So
I bought this album. This is actually I said I didn't buy any albums, did I, earlier on? Fuck that off.
You said you didn't buy any of the singles, so we'll allow the mistake.
Okay. Yes, I mean, Let Me Entertain You. Again, at the time, I thought this was kind of interesting. When I heard it, I thought, oh, he's doing The Who. I thought it sounded really like a Who pastiche, a bit like the Spice Girls one. But as time's moved on, now when I hear it, I think he's doing Robbie Williams. He's kind of owned it, hasn't he?
Yeah, and it did start off as a sort of a Who tribute.
Oh, really?
Yeah, apparently
Doesn't
him
surprise me.
and Guy Chambers had just watched the Rolling Stones Rock and Roll Circus.
Okay.
And the Who were part of that, and they wanted to write something a bit pinball wizardy, which is why the piano at the beginning
Right.
is the way it is.
Remember.
It is an homage to the Who.
Okay, well, I say maybe that is true about the Who. You know what to do, but like I say, I've got rid of all that now. I love this song. I love Robbie Williams, and as let's call it an opener, which they obviously I think they wrote it for. Let's have a good song to start a show with. Philosophically, it fulfills all his buttons, doesn't it? It's a great opener.
And it's a sort of a response to Smells Like Teen Spirit by Nirvana.
How do you mean?
Well, they sing, Here We Are Now, entertain us.
Right.
And Robbie Williams is like, well, let me entertain you.
Yeah.
No, I mean, he's a bit late for one of them, but
I've
can I confess something? I thought that this was a cover version for ages.
Okay,
For like a long time. When this came out, I thought, well, this must be a cover version of something.
Because you were being a bit anti-Robbie Williams and you couldn't believe he came up with something so good.
I think maybe, yeah. I think, I was, because I'd heard Old Before I Die, which I thought was a bit kind of meh. An Angel. I know everyone loved Angels and everything, but I just thought, it's a boy band style ballad. And then this came out and I went, well, he must have nicked this from someone. Oh, look, he's dressed as Kiss.
Yes.
And it sounds a bit like The Who.
Yes,
this must be a cover version.
that would be known as boy band bias, I
Yeah.
believe you're exhibiting there.
Yeah, and all fool me for doing that.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen him live do it. For this week, I watched the live version that he opened his Nebworth shows with. I mean, it's a phenomenon. There he is, coming out, comes down, hanging upside down in a crucifix pose. That's his stage entrance. Gets untied, obviously. There he is, bopping about, singing that. The crowd are bouncing in the live version. There's little details like he's singing a song and then he goes, "What? Bounce, bounce." And then you see a whole field jumping up and down. There's always a great bit he does live in the instrumental section where he kind of does a mock 30s Charleston style dance. Always entertaining. I'm such a big fan of Robbie Williams and this song. The words are great, aren't they? I mean, hell is gone and heaven's here. There's nothing left for you to fear. Shake your ass, come over here, now scream. Wah!
The lyrics are mostly excellent. I'm a big fan of the line, you got to get high before you taste the lows.
Yeah.
I just think that's really interesting. But I will say the one bit that makes me cringe a little bit is when he rhymes mon cher with mon cher. I just think
spotted that, does he?
Yeah, he rhymes mon cher with mon cher, and I just feel, come on, Robbie, you could have. There are other things you could have gone with. Gone there.
Right,
you could have gone with John Clare, the Irish poet. You could have gone with Con Air, which was a film that had come out the year before.
But it is
could have had Pret a Manger. It's just a wasted opportunity.
But this is part of his don't give a shitness of Robbie Williams, isn't it? You know?
I suppose there is that, but any time a song rhymes a thing with itself, I'm like, oh, come on.
Okay.
Try harder. But other than that, the lyrics are brilliant.
I mean, so many lovely little details. The little Bo Peepers lost the sheep. She popped the pill and fell asleep. The dew is wet, but the grass is sweet, my dear. I like the video again when I watched it, as you alluded to, in his Kiss makeup. Every morning when he wakes up, he looks like Kiss, but without the makeup. That's from Strong. So, anyway, he goes, at the very end of the video, it shows him pulling open his trouser belt, looking down, and pulling a very good disappointed face.
Angels had been huge.
Yeah.
And then this came out, and that kind of cemented his place. That was when everyone went, oh, it's not going to be Gary Barlow, is it?
Yeah,
it's not going to be Gary Barlow. It's going to be this guy.
I mean, again, when he does a live version, it's part of the tradition now. He goes, during one of the little breaks when it's going down and the audience are buzzing. He goes, what's he say? Something like, my name is Robbie Williams. This is my band. And for the next 2 hours, your ass is mine. And it's just got all this, a way to start a show. I can't really think of any better songs in some ways.
Yeah, in fact, it's so good at starting a show that all comedians have PTSD because of this song.
Yes, a lot of comedians hate this song, don't they? Because of a certain comedy club used it.
Before all of their shows,
Yeah.
a lot of whom were of varying difficulty.
Yeah, I mean, I used to hear this as a big enthusiast of this song.
Yeah.
And I used to hear them playing that before the shows we did at Jongleurs Comedy Club. That's right, isn't it?
Yeah, we can say that now.
Yeah, that's right. It's happened. Nothing. We're not slagging anything off. But I remember them playing this song before the show started, knowing the Robbie Williams version, then thinking, if you think any of us is going to match the energy of a Robbie Williams show, you're sadly mistaken. It almost felt like a tease to the audience. This is what you could be watching. Now watch these 4 blokes struggling, talking about their penis.
Just look down your pants and pull a disappointed face. Have we learnt nothing?
And then it changed to Tonight's Going to Be a Good Night by Black Eyed Peas, which is also,
Yeah. There are certain songs that comedians can't really hear.
I did a solo show once and I had a piece of music for it. I mean, I almost can't listen to Tipitina by Professor Longhair again because it reminds me of that.
One of the great joys of writing a solo show is thinking about the song you're going to play as you come on.
That and the posters I hear.
I tend to like the shows that I'm doing, so I
Good for
like
you.
the songs that I picked. So I've picked all kinds of songs to go to.
What's-
Usually, if I'm at a comedy club and they say, what music do you want as you come on? And I'll go, can I have anything? And they'll go, yeah. I'll say, can I have Paranoid by Black Sabbath, please? Just want a big riff, big attention-grabbing riff. So this is a huge hit, isn't it, Andy?
Yes.
Only gets to number 3, though.
Yeah, well, as we were alluding to earlier with Spice Girls, how they didn't get to number 1. I mean, who cares in a way? It's, songs can live a lot longer than their chart position of that particular week.
And it doesn't get into the top 10 in any other chart in the world.
We love him.
Yeah, just remind you that Truly Madly Deeply by Savage Garden was in the US top 30 for a year.
Well, quite. If anything, this makes me hate that record even more. I met him once, Robbie Williams. When I was doing warm-ups, as I mentioned. I was also doing warm-ups for Shooting Stars. He's one of a couple of people who, when I was introduced to him, was gracious enough to go introduce himself. Oh, hi, I'm Robbie. I was thinking, I know who you are, mate. You just left town. And
But what a lovely bloke for doing that.
it was lovely, absolutely. So that made me... The other one I seem to remember, I'm going to just chuck this in. Also, when I was doing Shooting Stars warm-up, they had Russell Grant on.
Oh, yeah.
And it was the first time I'd ever done one. I was introduced to him. He said, how you doing or something. I said, I'm pretty nervous, actually. I've never done a television warm-up before. He said to me, what star sign are you? I said, I'm Capricorn. He went, you'll be fine.
Oh, good value.
Yeah, nice. So appealing, isn't it, if you meet somebody who obviously you know and they just say, hello, I'm filling name here. It's really appealing trait.
Hear that, celebrities? In part 2 of this week's Shooby Dooby Doo-Wop, we'll be deep diving the top 5 from the 2nd of April 1998. Here's what you can expect to hear. Let me ask you this, Andy.
Yeah?
Is this song made of lettuce?
How do you mean?
Because it's a little gem.
Do you find Jimmy Lee or Spike a real dreamboat?
Yeah, I find them all to be dreamboaty.
It's only an opinion.
Yeah.
As opposed to Savage Garden, which is fact.
To me, it sounds like the kind of music they play at corporate award ceremonies
Absolutely.
or at the World Cup draw.
Sounds great to me. You can check out our Spotify and YouTube playlists and let us know your thoughts at shoobypodcast@gmail.com. And for songs that aren't in the top 10, nor did they ever make it, join our Patreon community and become a subscriber to hear all about them.
Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you so much.
Please tell your friends. Please share, subscribe, like, comment, all of that stuff. Rate and review. And until next time, Shooby Dooby Doo Up.
Bop bop shoo up.